All right. Welcome to Blue Pill Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. It is September 23rd, 2025. Just got out of the bath. I'm off work. Um, I know I have a conspiracy channel too, and a lot of people are saying today's supposed to be the end of the world, so just figured I'd mention that. It is the 23rd, so um, but Uh, we did a podcast the other day on, actually 2 days ago, maybe three now, on Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets for Game Boy Color. Um, I actually was playing both of them at the same time. Um, because it's an RPG, so when I find myself grinding on an RPG, the first Harry Potter I played it by itself, but there honestly, man, there wasn't a whole lot of grinding on it. So I found myself with Chamber of Secrets where it was so padded. Go check out that episode. Um, I started because I bought Azkaban and Chamber of Secrets at the same time. So I found myself when I would have to grind on Chamber of Secrets, jumping over and playing Azkaban. So I beat them around the same time. So that's why 2 days ago you got the Chamber of Secrets review. Today we're going to be doing Prisoner of Azkaban for Game Boy Advanced. Kind of like the Zelda series that I put out, the Zelda playlist. I've been playing through. My next series that I wanted to take on was the Harry Potter series for Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advanced. I just took a bath, so my hair is wet. Yeah, I wanted to play through all of them. So I've beaten the first three. There's two more left. There's Goblet of Fire and Order of the Phoenix, which I've already ordered. They should be coming in the mail, knock on wood, soon. So yeah, look forward to those. And I did create a playlist for the Harry Potter game reviews. Also, I did create a podcast episode of older Harry Potter book reviews. I kind of stitched them all together. It's 3 different reviews. It was, I'm not gonna lie, I just know Cursed Child was on there, but there's 3 different Harry Potter book reviews, and I stitched them together. I've been using a new software called Wondershare, and it looks fucking awesome. You can do music, you can do animation. It turned out really fucking good. I used it for like several past interviews and stuff, and I don't know, it's awesome. So go check out that. And if you're into the video game reviews, I have a game review playlist. Like I said, just go check out my Blue Pill episodes, man. So I have a Buy Me a Coffee account set up in the description below. If you want to donate some money to the channel, that'd be cool. If not, that's cool too. Yeah. So let's get on with the review. So obviously, right off the bat, man, the sprites, graphics, everything is better for Prisoner of Azkaban than with the first previous two, because the first previous two were on Game Boy Color. And I specifically bought Harry Potter 1 and 2 for Game Boy Color. And the reason why I did was because EA Games and Warner Brothers made Harry Potter 1 and 2 for Game Boy Advanced also, but it's not RPG. And the Game Boy Color Harry Potter 1 and 2 are both RPGs. I'm a big fan of RPGs. I prefer RPG over action adventure. And the first 3 Harry Potter games are all RPG, except for if you buy the non-RPG of 1 and 2. I just preferred it. Yes, I know the graphics aren't as good, but I just like RPGs better than action adventure. So this was kind of bittersweet for me, Prisoner of Azkaban, because it's the last one that's RPG. and I've been kind of on this little video game quest. Um, I'd say for about a year. Yeah, probably about a year and a half now. I've been on this like video game quest of basically going through and playing through the Game Boy library, Game Boy Color library, Game Boy Advance library. Am I gonna like complete the entire library? Probably not. You know, but it's just fun. I don't know why. I've just been interested in playing those three systems lately. I've been playing on a SP, original hardware, original carts. You know, it's just fun collecting. It's fun playing. I don't know why. I just grew up on Game Boy and Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color, and I love it. You know, the sprites don't bother me. The graphics don't bother me. A lot of newer gamers, they're like, I don't get it, but it's just fun. So, one thing right off the bat is the map is like not the same. So the first two Harry Potters for Game Boy Color, I think they used, honestly, pretty much like the same. And I'm not a super tech savvy guy, so like, I guess not hardware or software, but like the same template is the only way I could describe it. Everything's the same as far as like maps, sprites. The only thing they really had to create was like new dialogue. They could reuse a lot of the same sprites. The map is exactly the same, because pretty much everything takes place on the school grounds or the Hogwarts Express, the Forbidden Forest. Yeah, everything kind of takes place in the same parameters. So they were able to just honestly reuse a lot of the same sprites, sound effects, like, you know, upgrade it a little bit, make obvious changes to make it a totally different game. But so where it is Game Boy Advance now, they did all that's different. So like the maps, I found myself getting lost, for one, in Hogwarts and in general of the school grounds, because it's not the same map. It's a different layout. Same creators, but just totally different layout. I did find this one was definitely closer to the source material. If you're talking like the cinema, the movies, the movie of it. So first of all, the licensing, I don't know what's going on, or I don't know. I'll have to look it up. And if you guys know, hit me up in the comments, because I'm a nerd. You know, I like talking about this stuff. I don't know if the licensing, if they had complete licensing over it, because the music, like the first two Harry Potters, is very Harry Potter styled, but none of the songs are from the movies. Now, I did notice that a lot of the character, not the sprites, but during dialogue, the image of the characters were like a lot closer to the actual actors. Like Peter Pettigrew, the rat guy, I think that's his name, Peter Pettigrew. He looked exactly like the actor. Some of them didn't. Like Sirius Black did not look like Gary Oldman. Snape looked pretty spot on. Harry looked pretty spot on. So I do have to ask, like, I am just curious in general, like, what was the deal with the licensings? Because in the title, on the front of the game and the title, it says WB. But for some reason, I don't think they got complete licensing for it. But it was closer to the movie. So one kind of random thing that I thought was interesting was, at the end of the day, it's like Harry Potter, especially the first couple of them, are written for children, essentially. I mean, it is what it is. Yes, I'm a Potterhead, and I'm sure you're a Potterhead if you clicked on this too. But you gotta admit, it is written for children. Now, there is a lot of people who grow as they read it. I would say the first two were definitely like stylized for children. And obviously Rowling knew that the children would be growing up with Harry, and Hermione and Ron, which is cool. And you see that with a lot of series, like Series of Unfortunate Events. I'm a big fan of that. Hell, I reviewed one of the games, the Series of Unfortunate Events game. Go check it out. But it was kind of funny. So, like, on the first two Harry Potter games, like, when you kill a monster, like, it dies. So I did find it kind of funny that because it's geared towards children, whenever you kill a monster on this game, they run away. And it kind of just reminded me of, like, growing up playing, like, the original Pokemon carts for Game Boy and Game Boy Color of, like, when you kill a Pokemon, like, it faints, you know what I mean? And I know I compared a lot to the other two, but I'm playing them all back to back, and honestly, just go check out the playlist, because, yeah, just go check it out. And I think this is the way that it should be played, like 1 through 5, This differed from the first two Harry Potter carts. So, the first two Harry Potter carts, it has mini games. Like, this one definitely lacks the mini games. First of all, when I was thinking back, I was like, what mini games were there? Were there mini games? Because, like, it's a very quick game. For an RPG, it's a very quick RPG. And there is, like, little extra side stuff, like, you'll be going to class, and they're like, Snape at one point is like, hey, get these ingredients for potions. Go into my closet. And then when you go into his closet, it's a full-blown dungeon, Which I understand that. Like, it doesn't bother me, because there's no way you can adapt something exactly like it. Like, I use Series of Unfortunate Events as an example. Like, there's no way that you could adapt it from an adaptation, by the way, because it's based off the film, so it's an adaptation from an adaptation, which this would be an adaptation from an adaptation, and get it completely 100% canon. Like, that's just impossible. But the mini games were kind of, I guess, lackluster. They weren't really rememberable, and there was less of them. So if you like the first two and you like more of the mini games, which I didn't mind the mini games, because for one, you did not have to actually beat the mini game to progress, which is the same with this. Like, if you fail the mini game, if you just suck at it, like, you can still progress without beating the mini game. Because that's one thing that frustrates me. I brought it up the last review of playing, like, Zelda Oracle of Ages and having to beat certain mini games to progress in the story. Like, there is no way around it. You have to beat certain mini games, and I've always hated that with games. It's like, well, what the hell? But speak of the devil, Zelda, one thing I have to say is they brought in, like, a new mechanic. So it's an RPG. They don't have as many mini games. And they did bring in a new mechanic. So instead of just, like, walking around to certain places, doing battles and or a mini game or a fetch quest, now they brought in everywhere you go, as far as, like, I guess, levels, even though it's an RPG, dungeons. That's probably a better word. Like, dungeons. You have to interact with your environment, kind of like Zelda. Like, there is puzzles. Like, you have to use the Flippendio spell to, like, push pillars onto switches, or the ice spell, I forget the name, is Glacia something. You have to use the ice spell to, like, freeze water and make an ice bridge to walk across. Or there's spider webs. You have to use the Defendio spell to cut down those spider webs. It's kind of cool. And my thing is, if you guys know me and you've kept up with Blue Pill Podcast, when I was going through the Zelda games, and I know people are going to be like, well, you're not a true Zelda fan then. I love Zelda, but there is sometimes on Zelda that I just want to pick up a sword and hack people up and fight and have a good story. And the puzzles can be gruesome, like not gruesome but grueling in the Zelda games. Never at any point did I find the puzzles on this game grueling. And I think because it's based more towards children, that helped, but I don't mind puzzles, but if it's like literally breaking my brain and I'm getting frustrated, like the whole point of playing video games is to be happy to, well, blue pill from this crazy reality we live in and have fun, you know? And if you're getting frustrated, it's like, yeah, you got to put the controller down. So, yeah. One thing that I have to say, so Harry Potter 1, perfect amount of grinding. If you would fail at a boss, you could grind the next level, play again, fail again. That's okay. But it wasn't too much. Harry Potter 2, I told you guys that was my biggest beef with Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets for Game Boy Color, was the grinding, the amount of grinding. And specifically, Aragog, the big spider. It was ridiculous. I grinded for probably like a week, maybe 2 weeks to beat that motherfucker. Pardon my French, but yeah, it was ridiculous. And when I say like 2 weeks, because I have a full-time job, I have a podcast. Actually, I did the math because for that company that hit me up in the email, they were asking how much do you podcast per week, and I podcast 6 hours a week. So 40 hours plus 6 hours, plus I have a life and a wife. So, I mean, I still have to do chores, mow the lawn, do dishes, take her out on dates, you know, like cook dinner sometimes. Like, yeah, I'm a busy dude, but I mean, I would still come home after work and probably play 2.5, 3 hours, depending on if I was tired or not, because there were nights that I would just come home, go straight to bed. But yeah, dude, so like, the amount of grinding was ridiculous for Chamber of Secrets. But on this one, it kind of reminded me, they must have gotten complaints, either from the fans or from, I don't know. They must have gotten complaints or figured out like, yeah, we went a little crazy with how strong the bosses were on the second game, because they went back to like, honestly, probably equal to the first one as far as like the difficulty of like, yeah, like the grind. You don't have to grind as much. You still have to grind. Trust me, there was several times. Here, I'll show you my notebook. These little markings right here, that's like different times I had to grind and build people up, because I keep a little notebook on the bedstand. So yeah, I mean, I still had to grind, but it wasn't ridiculous like Chamber of Secrets. So that's a plus. So this is going to be a backwards compliment, or backhanded compliment, I guess you would say. The music on this game, amazing. But turn up the fucking volume. And I don't know, maybe you can hit me up in the comments. I don't recall, maybe there was an options where I could turn the music higher, but it was beautiful fucking music. And unlike, and this isn't bashing the first two Harry Potters for Game Boy Color, because like, I love the music for the first two Harry Potters for Game Boy Color. And even my wife, like, she was listening to some of it and she's like, oh my god, this sounds like, I know it's bit music, but it's like beautiful. Like, it's like, you could tell that somebody sat down and cared about the music they were writing, you know, kind of like the old Zeldas for Nintendo. Somebody actually cared. And the first two Harry Potters reminded me almost like a music box. This one was, you could tell like it was an actual orchestra. I'll never forget, dude, because I grew up playing Game Boy and Game Boy Color. That was my systems. I had N64, you know, but I'll never forget the first game I ever got for a Game Boy Advanced was it was Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced, and popping it in and listening to the music, and I'm like, dude, this is a full blown orchestra. They used a full blown orchestra in this game. And there's been a couple other games like that I've played where like I'm like still even at 33 years old, and maybe this is just rose tinted glasses, but I'm still kind of like, damn, for a Game Boy Advance game, like, you know, that's sitting on the shelf collecting dust that's cost $5 now, like, somebody actually cared and put their heart and soul into the shit. Like, it was actual genuine woodwinds and strings and drums, and it's like, there's every now and then I'll pop in a game like that, and I like show Sammy, I'm like, dude, listen to this shit. And she's like, that's really fucking good. I'm like, yeah, and that's a Game Boy Advance game. Like, that's an actual orchestra. So the music was amazing, but super fucking quiet. And like I said, that could be a fix that I just never thought of. Never thought to go to the options. You probably can turn the music up, but it's just too quiet, and it's sad because it's beautiful music. It is unlicensed music. It's not any of the songs from the movie, so that kind of sucks. But at the same time, though, it doesn't, because it's kind of like, I don't know. It's different. Like, you get more artistic freedom if it's like, oh, we don't have to do artistic music, we can create our own songs. So it's kind of neat in a way too. So they brought back, well, didn't bring it back because they never got rid of it, but the card collecting, which is honestly, to me, if you guys are longtime fans of the channel, you guys know that I collect trading cards. And I collect any trading card. Like, if it's something that I'm interested in, I'll collect it. And there have been times I've even collected, like, stuff that I'm not even interested in, but just because it's a collectible card. Like, I love collecting cards. I'm a cardboard nerd. So it was really cool that there was the cards again. One thing I have to say, though, is, well, let me sidetrack just for a second. Harry Potter 1 and 2, you're able to snoop around, and I didn't realize it at first until I did it on accident, of like, because I didn't, when I bought the game, I bought just the cartridge. I don't have the manual. I've never played it before because my dad was a preacher. We weren't allowed to touch anything Harry Potter. So I didn't know that you can, like, kind of snoop around. Like, if there's a dresser, you can walk up to the dresser, push A, and you can get a potion out of it or a card out of it. Yeah, Prisoner of Azkaban, they took that away. Everything is in chest. So when I first started playing it, dude, just out of habit, I was like, oh, it's a RPG. It's just like the first two. I was going up to, like, every little prop in rooms and everything, going up to it, not getting anything, and I was like, wait a second, I guess you don't have to, like, dig around people's houses and steal shit. So that was kind of funny, but with the card system, man. So WB, Warner Brothers, and EA Games, they really kind of missed out on an opportunity. So the link cable. I have a link cable. You could have done this with Harry Potter 1, you could have done this with Harry Potter 2, and you could have done this with Harry Potter 3, Prisoner of Azkaban. Trading cards, dude. Kids at the time, especially during the first two, because that was Game Boy Color era. So Pokemon was huge, Harry Potter was huge. You could have definitely have gotten, they should have, man. I wish I had a time machine sometimes so I could go back and just be like, listen, dude, like, make it to where you can trade cards on a link cable, you know. they missed out on that opportunity. I don't know. Every time I deal with the cards, like, yes, it's fun collecting them all. And you can use them as spells in the game, like big ass spells. If you get like 2 or 3 cards, certain ones, they'll do certain things. Save them for boss fights if you're playing and you've never played before. Save them for boss fights, trust me. Because you definitely need them against Voldemort on Harry Potter 1. But yeah, dude, link cable. Come on, man. Like, come on, man. Nintendo, dude. Yeah. One other thing that I want to talk about a little bit is for an RPG, I'm a huge fan of RPGs. So if you hand me an RPG, I'm expecting the game to be at least 20 to 30 hours. These are not the same. And I didn't know that going in. Playing the very first Harry Potter, I beat it in like, I would say the average length of these Harry Potter games are like 10 to 15 hours. This one actually surprised me because it's been like 5 or 6 years since I read the books. And at the time, that was the first time I'd ever read the books, because I told you my dad was a preacher and I just never got around to it. And we were living at a place where we had no internet or TV, so like I got into reading, which is good. And I was like, I'm gonna read the entire Harry Potters, and I did. I burnt through them. Like they're fucking awesome books. And like I said, it's geared towards children, which honestly, dude, if you want to get your kid into RPGs, this is a good fucking series to get them into, to get them initiated into RPGs, man. Would definitely be the first 3 Harry Potters for Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advanced. That would just be my advice to you if you want to get your kid into an RPG. Because they're all very short. They're only, I would say, like each one's like I said, 10, maybe 15 hours. And it was like unexpectedly short. So like I was already getting super close to the end of the games. And here's my advice to you. If you're ordering these games, as soon as you order one of the Harry Potter games, as soon as it comes in the mail, order another if you're going to play through the series. Because they're short. They're good, but they're short. And I didn't really think about that. I should have, but it's been so long since I played the first one. I think it was April, Yeah, that's my advice to you. Definitely already have the other ones ordered with it. And honestly, the best thing to do would just be order them all, because they're actually very surprisingly cheap for RPG games. They're good fucking games too, but I guess where they're so short, and they were probably super common, because I remember when Harry Potter was like the big craze, like everything. Harry Potter was everywhere, kind of like Pokemon, so it makes sense if they were super common. So I guess the feeling that I got is a little bittersweet that this is like the last RPG of the series. And it bums me out, but at the same time, like, I'm okay with change because I know there's only 2 more Harry Potter carts left in the series. And they're going to switch over to like action adventure. So in a way, I'm kind of cool with it because I'm like, okay, cool. I've been playing three RPGs. I'm cool with it. I'm ready for an action adventure now. So I think honestly we're gonna kind of probably wrap it up. I have tons of more notes, but I always try to make sure I have too many notes rather than not enough. I give this one an 8 out of 10. I think Chamber of Secrets I gave a 7.5, and I think the first one I gave like a 9 out of 10. It's not as good as the first one, but it's a lot better than Chamber of Secrets. Like, Chamber of Secrets was slightly disappointing with how much they padded the game, and made it way too much grinding. The story I felt was like super short, so to lengthen the game, they did what a lot of older game companies used to do is make it super hard to lengthen the game, and it's like, nah, that's cheesy. You could have just added more side shit. It would have been less canon, yeah, but I would have rather not been frustrated grinding like crazy. But this one didn't have that problem. It was good. It was decent. Um, I'm trying to think, honestly, my favorite Harry Potter as far as like the book. I would have to say probably. They're all so fucking good, but honestly, man, like the first one was fucking dope. Like I've always been like that though. The first one's usually always my favorite, but I can't choose. But this one, 8 out of 10. It was better than the last one, but it's not as good as Harry Potter 1 for Game Boy Color. But I love y'all. If you've ever played this game, hit me up in the comments. If you have any comments in general about the game, hit me up. Tomorrow, I will be back into Conspiracy Corner podcast. So put your tinfoil hat on. I don't really have any more Blue Pill podcast episodes planned. I love you all. Please like, share, and subscribe. And you all have an awesome day. And by the way, it's not the end of the world.